Okay, I will go ahead and call the meeting of the January 22nd, 2026 TRPA Hearings Officer to order. It is 2 p.m. My name is Marcia Birch, and I will be serving as the Hearings Officer today. The first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Have there been any changes?
There have not been any changes to the agenda.
All right, seeing none, I will approve the agenda as it was posted. The third item on the agenda is public interest comments for no action. Any member of the public who wishes to address the hearings officer on any item that is not listed as a public hearing item on the agenda may do so at this time. Public comments on any public hearing item will be taken at the time those agenda items are heard. The hearings officer is prohibited by law from taking immediate action on or discussing issues raised by the public that are not listed on the agenda. All right, so Jessica, let's start in the room and see if there are any public interest comments.
We have no members of the public in the room, and I'll make the announcement for online just in case anybody joins. So any member of the public that would like to address the hearings officer, please raise your hand now, and I will call on you. There are no hands raised to comment.
Okay, seeing no public interest comments, I will close the public interest comment portion of the meeting and go on to the announcement of appeal rights. Any decision of the hearings officer is appealable to the TRPA governing board. The notice of appeal, which can be found on TRPA's website, and associated fees must be filed within 21 days of the hearings officer's decision. All right, so that brings us to our public hearing items. Okay, we will start with item 5A. That is the Incline Village Nursery School Change of Use Daycare Center, 924 Incline Way, Washoe County, Nevada. Assessor's parcel number 132-732-07. TRPA file number ERSP 2025-0859. And this is Jen Self's item.
Thank you, Marcia. Jen Self for the record, TRPA principal planner. I believe you may have misread the APN in the introduction, but I could be mistaken.
Okay.
So just for the record, APN 132-43207.
Okay, so there is a typo in the agenda, but let me just see what so the staff report, the staff report is correct.
Yes, the staff report is correct.
Okay. All right.
Okay, just a minor note there. So this is for the Incline Village Nursery School. This is a change of use proposal coming to TRPA for consideration. It's in Incline Village, Nevada. The new location would be at 924 Incline Way in Washoe County. This nursery school has been in operation in Incline Village since about 1970, and it's relocating to the proposed site. There is no change in coverage and no construction associated with this project. It is required to come before the hearings officer because the change of use to a daycare center is a special use within the Washoe County area plan. The applicant has obtained a special use permit from Washoe County, just noted for the record, and TRP has received a copy of that permit, which has been approved by Washoe County. So the new use, it's an existing commercial mixed-use office building, and so it'd be just within one suite of the office building, approximately 1,100 square feet. Again, no construction proposed with this project. The daycare is proposed to follow the Washoe County Public School calendar, which includes Monday through Friday, about 8:45 a.m. to 1:45 p.m. during the school year. And it would have approximately 15 students and 3 staff members. The location as proposed is within the town center in Incline Village. It's about 500 feet or so from the existing inclined middle school, and it's surrounded by an assortment of different commercial and retail uses, dental offices, some restaurants, other office space, IT uses, things like that. The applicant has provided some additional information as requested in the permit, and I forward that on to the hearings officer. But the approval would be subject to the conditions of the attached permit. I'm happy to answer any questions about the project, and I believe we also have the applicant, Nicole Sterling, on the line as well.
All right. Thank you, Jen. And I did review the Washoe County permit and the other documents that you forwarded to me. So yes, let's go ahead. Nicole Sterling, if you would like to make a comment regarding the project, we're happy to hear it.
I don't necessarily have any specific comments. We only moved 2 blocks down the street. So we've had to downsize exponentially in order to move into this suite. We are a nonprofit. We have been open since 1970. We do follow the public school schedule, and we don't see ourselves as a daycare. I know that you classify daycares and preschools in the same category, but we really are a preschool. The children do not nap with us. They have to be fully potty trained. They come in, they get a rigorous academic schedule with us, and then they leave. So we really are a school, and we see ourselves as that way. And I'm here to answer any questions if TRPA has any.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so Jen, again, I did review your staff report and the county permit. I don't have any questions at the moment. Have you received any public comment?
I have not received any public comment.
Okay, so let's go ahead and open this up for public comment.
All right, since there's nobody in the room, I will make an announcement for anyone online who wishes to comment on this item. Please raise your hand now by clicking on the raised hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. There are no hands raised to comment on this item.
All right, thank you, Jessica. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and I'll take action on this item. I will approve the required findings, including a finding of no significant effect, and approve the proposed project subject to the conditions in the draft permit. All right. So we can go ahead and move on to our second and last item, item 5B. This is the Stillwell Land Capability Challenge, 386 Northridge Drive, El Dorado County, California, APN 016-531-004, TRPA file number LCAP 2025-0288. All right, and this is Julie Roll's item.
Yes, hi, this is Julie Roll, Senior Planner at TRPA. And as Marcia mentioned, this is a land capability challenge. It was reviewed on behalf of TRPA by our soils contractor, Phil Scholes. And based on his evaluation, staff is recommending changing the land capability from class 1A to classes 4 and 6. And we should have Phil on the line here so he can give us a few more details. But before we turn it over to Phil, I do want to point out one typo in the staff report that the applicant's representative pointed out to us. It's on page 2, paragraph 3, and there's just a reference where it breaks out the slope ranges to the land capability, and it has class 4 for slope ranges between 0 and 16%, and that's meant to be class 6. It's correct in all the other references in the table and everything, so I will have an edited version uploaded to the file, and we'll have that all cleared up.
All right, thank you, Julie. But the table is correct.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
I guess while I'm talking, I'll just also throw out there that we did not receive any public comment on this item ahead of the meeting.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Is Phil with us?
Phil
yes, I am. Hear me? All right.
Yep, we can hear you.
Terrific. We did a land capability challenge on this property on October 27th. I met with Gary Furamoto of Sagan Design, who's representing the owners. This is a a property that sits on top of a ridge. It's actually a glacial moraine, so it's a very rocky, basically pile of rocks forming a giant ridge. And it's situated between General Creek and Meeks Creek. We had a pit dug for us on the sort of the northeast corner of where the house is located on a slope that I think is about 20% slope. And we describe the soils. The upper part are very gravelly soils that are sort of a sandy loam texture, and the lower part are extremely gravelly with sand. And those characteristics of being very rocky are consistent with the soil mapping of the Meeks soil series, which is what was the 1A. However, that particular soil series, the Meeks gravelly soil, also has a root restricting layer deep in the soil profile. And that's what makes it one of the things that makes it a limiting soil. And so we dug down until we got to essentially rock that we couldn't get through, and deep enough that it's too deep for that sort of restricting layer to have formed. And so it shared some properties like the Meeks, but in other portions, it does not have the limiting element that is critical to the Meeks soil series. It's not like any of the other soil series that we sometimes see in that area, like the Tahoe series or the George Tahoe series. So it's an unknown or unnamed soil type. TRPA designates those XXX, and they're in this situation because it's not close enough to the Meeks or any of the other soil types. We call it this unnamed soil type, and as such, the slope is one of the more defining elements to the determination for land capability. So 0 to 16% is for class 6, and that sort of covers the upper part of the property where part of the house is located, and where the slopes are 16 to 30%, which is sort of the lower part of the house and the lower part of the property, is what we found.
Okay, thank you, Phil. And I noticed that Gary's on the line, and I wanted to give Gary an opportunity to comment if he wishes.
Thank you, Marcia. This is Gary Furumoto. I'm representing Tony and Desiree Stillwell, and we have reviewed the staff summary, and we agree with the findings. So thank you, Phil, and thank you, Julie. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. I don't have any questions on this, Julie, and Phil gave a great explanation, and I'll go ahead and open it up for public comment.
There are no members of the public left.
Okay.
If you like.
So there aren't any online or in the room?
There aren't any online or in the room. No, it's just me and Graham here.
Okay, well, then I'll go ahead and close the public hearing on this item, and I will take action, and I will approve the proposed land capability challenge as it was presented in the staff report. Okay, so I think that wraps up our hearings officer meeting for today. So we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.